Another Iraqi city has fallen now to ISIS, the city of Ramadi.
The
mayor and a high-ranking security official say the last Iraqi security forces have pulled out from another military base on the west side of that city. When asked about ISIS Jordanian Air Force of the city, a spokesman for the governor of the 26-year-old base 21 plane crash in Syria. Bill Paxton, days after ISIS beheaded Jordan's came out by the hundreds as this morning they began detonating a series of car bombs.
No mention from the White House that these victims.
As many of you know, or should know, the Islamic State, also known as ISIS, are an organized army fighting a ground war in Syria and Iraq. These ISIS savages have gained momentous amounts of land in the Middle East by murdering thousands of innocent people in the most gruesome of ways. The savage group is now operating in 9 countries and may have even infiltrated into Afghanistan. While professing unwavering faith in a transcendent deity, radical Islam is a militant, politically activist ideology whose ultimate goal is to create a worldwide community or caliphate of Muslim believers, determined to achieve this new world order by any means necessary, including violence and mass murder.
والمكيال مكاييل والذين إذا أصابهم البغي هم ينتصرون والباء عليه جهة إلا وتؤدب ولا الله لا يطير مالك الله لا يوفقك يساقون إلى الموت أفواج بفضل الله سبحانه وتعالى سوف تعلو راية الحق ويخبو الكافرين ونعيد للدين رديد الله أكبر إنه النصر المبين إنها خلافة البشرى ووعد إنها خلافة البشرى
An Iraqi ambassador to the United Nations said that ISIS is harvesting the organs of its victims to fund its murderous operations, the latest charge of barbarity in a list that already includes mass beheadings, burning people alive, crucifying children, and throwing people off of buildings.
Since the group known as the Islamic State came into power, Islamic judges have presided over the courts and have introduced harsh sentences. This man was found guilty of murder. He was crucified and displayed in the public square.
In its crusade against homosexuals, the Islamic State is now resorting to sting operations, using jihadists posing as gay men to coax out offenders and execute them publicly. ISIS is continually seeking out young people for recruitment into the Islamic State. One of the more recent examples from a couple months ago was a video showing boys in camouflage and ISIS bandanas learning hand-to-hand combat. The militants called them Cubs of the Caliphate. ISIS has especially ramped up its efforts to lure young women, seen as potential brides, into territory under its brutal control. ISIS runs a powerful propaganda machine on social media. A U.S. State Department spokesperson said that they are seeing 90,000 tweets a day that they are combating. These tweets are either coming from ISIS directly, or they're Western recruiters to promote the cause to other people like them back home. ISIS is outwitting Western governments' efforts. A former member of the Islamic State said that they are far superior and advanced when it comes to media technologies. ISIS targets the youth especially, mainly males who are eager to express themselves through their religion. Boys in particular are attracted to the chance to fight and are encouraged to think they are fighting for the greater good, for Allah, and for the religion of Islam.
Everywhere our camera went, there seemed to be a young man eager to extol the virtues of the newly formed caliphate.
والله ابشروا بالدقمات والمفخخات. اليوم أعلنا الخلافة وبعدها واليوم نحن في شهر رمضان، هو نصر من الله، والرسول قال أكثر النصر في شهر رمضان. واليوم الدولة تنتصر في العراق وتنتصر في الشام وفي كل مكان. والله سنقسم أمريكا إلى قسمين وسندمر أعداء الدين كلياتهم، كل من حارب الدولة الإسلامية. الخلافة باقية إلى قيام الساعة، وإن شاء الله سننصر أميرنا الحسيني القريشي أبو بكر البغدادي. تكبير!
The U.S. government released an image of the ISIS leader and offered a $10 million reward for his capture or death. His name, Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi. Baghdadi, the head of the Islamic State militant group, has been careful to reveal little about himself and his whereabouts. Baghdadi made his first appearance on video when he gave a sermon in Mosul in July of 2014. The ISIS chief allegedly broke a months-long silence in May by releasing an audio message in which he urged Muslims to immigrate to the self-proclaimed caliphate. Baghdadi has a reputation as a highly organized and ruthless battlefield tactician, which analysts say make his organization more attractive to young jihadists. ISIS saw a series of successes as it has cut its way from Syria into Iraq and towards Baghdad using a combination of military expertise and unimaginable brutality. Social media accounts associated with ISIS have published disturbing videos purportedly showing ISIS fighters taunting, torturing, and executing scores of unarmed prisoners. In addition, former senior U.S. military officials who served in Iraq and helped train the Iraqi forces said that ISIS has been able to take advantage of government forces who lack the motivation to put up a good fight against ISIS in some areas. According to the UN, ISIS forces have grown 70%, pulling members from over 100 countries. The extremist group has doubled the land it controls in just a few months, despite more than 800 coalition airstrikes. ISIS is spreading, and with the help of social media, some 20,000 foreign fighters from 90 countries have traveled to Syria to join one group or another. 3,400 of those fighters are said to have come from Western nations, including over 150 from the U.S., who have either traveled to the conflict zone or attempted to do so. It is very difficult to be precise with these numbers because they come from a variety of sources that vary in quality. However, the trend lines are clear and very concerning. Action must be taken. There must be a worldwide coalition between the United States and her allies to put a stop to the growth of radical Islamic extremism in Muslim countries. This coalition must be effective in wiping out these extremists from the Muslim countries and destroy this radical ideology at its source. We must also work very closely with the Muslim community, convincing them that the only way to get rid of this radical ideology starts in the Muslim community. Changing certain Muslims' mindsets and viewpoints on Sharia law and the religion of Islam is the only way to end this oppressive movement. The U.S. and her allies must exterminate all forms of ruthlessness and aggression within ISIS and other groups. Drones may be able to kill terrorists and erase their camps, but they cannot eliminate the motivation and ideology that breeds extremism and radicalism. This is why, with the help of Muslim leaders and the Muslim community, we can begin to erase these extremists who wish to wage jihad against all non-believers.